Hello and welcome to PMQs with Graham Hughes. How are you all doing this morning for one more minute? We've got Paula Thomas in the chat. We've got Michael Warner. Oh, Keir Starmer's just walked in. Everyone's cheering. People are jeering. Hillary Ben is on his feet at the moment, just yakking away. You don't need to hear that. Listen. If you'd like to join Paula and Michael and Vendetta, Anne and Alan and Unquiet Badger and Diz and others in the chat, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button and you will be able to join in the chat. You have to wait a minute before it will allow you to say something. And slow mode is on, but it's only on 30 seconds. Just don't spam the chat because I can't necessarily see older messages. It's a bit of a hassle for me to go and retrieve them, especially if people refer to a message that came up earlier and I'm having to sit here sort of reading the sidebar when we've got better things to do. Anyway, so I'll take you over to the House of Commons now. We have Alex Burkhart here. Here's the Shadow Northern Ireland Secretary. Finally do the right thing. Will they? Will they? That's what he's asking. What's his name? Alex Alex. Oh, what the hell is this doing? Why is it doing this? It's on that thing where, you know, Google now has a thing that says resume browsing. Anyway, Shadow Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, in opposition, personal life. I don't know what school he went to. Oh, it's still questions here. This is someone from the DUP, I think. Here we go. So angry all the time. Look at him. Look at his angry demeanour. I know you can't hear what he's saying, but he's just so angry all the time. Take a day off, mate. That last guy who stood up was educated at the Independent Middlefield School in Somerset. So another private school mafia type. Sliding into our DMs, I don't know. Spam, wonderful spam. Wonderful spam. Spam. God, he's still talking. Will you shut up? It's 1 minute past 12. We're supposed to be doing PMQs. Okay, right, this is over now. Come on. Kind of getting bored now. Should I turn the volume up so you can hear it? Oh, there you go. Oh, hang on, what? He's come back. He's come back. Stop talking. That's not Hillary Ben.
Also knows there's a commitment for enhanced investment
Jesus, press the button, man.
In Northern Ireland. When does he believe that the businesses of Northern Ireland
will
benefit from that?
Get on with it.
Well, I would
see, this one I get told off for being 2 minutes late for turning off. I should turn up 2 minutes late because then I don't have to sit through this shit. Right, now we come to Prime Minister's questions.
Northern Ireland questions. Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, can I welcome to the gallery His Excellency Ahmad Safadi, Speaker of the House of Representatives of Jordan and his delegation. We now come to Prime Minister's questions. Paul Ward.
Question number one, Mr. Speaker.
Number one! Who's number one? You're number 6. And number 2. Who's number 1?
Okay, there seems to be a bit of a challenge on who can cheer the most. I've never known one Prime Minister get as much cheering. Come on, Prime Minister.
What even was that?
I think they were cheering more, Mr. Speaker. Quite right, too. This Saturday marks the 77th birthday of our National Health Service. And I want to begin by thanking our dedicated
Are you going to take credit for something that you didn't set up?
And in that 77th year, I'm proud that this Labour government has delivered 4 million extra appointments, 1,700 more GPs, and the lowest waiting list for 2 years. Mr. Speaker, the Labour Party is proud to have been the party that created the NHS, and tomorrow we're announcing
I don't think Rachel Reeves looks too well at the moment. Look,
future, so that in many years,
oh God, piss off, you plastic-faced
we can still
twat-burger.
proudly celebrate the anniversary of the NHS. Mr. Speaker, may I also wish
Rachel Reeves looks like she's about to burst into tears, mate.
In the Women's Euros.
God.
And, of course, congratulate England's under-21s on retaining the Euros. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When this Labour government extended free school meals to 500,000 more children last month, Laura, a working mum in Rochdale, told me it would save her £500 a year. She said, "I'm over the moon, only Labour would have done this."
I'm just going to turn down my
Does the
volume a
Prime
little bit.
Minister agree with me that people voted Labour a year ago not just for change but for hope, and that cutting child poverty is the moral mission of this government to help every child in this country?
Mr. Speaker, I'm really proud that we extended free school meals for another 500,000 children, including Laura's. And it's people like Laura that we have in our mind's eye and giving children the best start in life. And I think the Child Poverty Task Force visited Rochdale recently and will continue to back parents like Laura. But, Mr. Speaker, we've already started not just free school meals being rolled out, free breakfast clubs, extending childcare. That's real change under this Labour government.
Opposition, Kemi Badenoch.
Oh, God, here we go. Come on, Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker, can I first of all take this opportunity to congratulate the member for Rochdale for being the toady of the week, helping the Prime Minister. We all know...
Toady of the week.
There's a lot of people wanting to catch my eye today. There is some free hits on this side. I won't waste your opportunity.
It's been a difficult week for the Prime Minister. So let's start with something simple.
Come on.
Can the Prime Minister tell the House how much his welfare bill is going to save?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let me start by saying free school matters on this side of the House. Mr. Speaker, in relation to welfare, what we delivered last night was a bill which ends mandatory reassessment of those with severe disabilities. That is the right thing to do. It rebalances universal credit. That is long overdue, and it sets out
I don't think she's actually crying, Anne. She does look like she's about to burst into tears,
Mr. Speaker, it's consistent with the principles I set out throughout. If you can work, you should work. If you need help into work, the state should provide the help. The system that they broke doesn't do so. And if you can't work...
I think there's one or two I can spot immediately. Usual voices, same names, please. It's too early to leave the chamber.
For a cup of tea!
Oh,
he hasn't said cup of tea for like a year now. You say cup of tea all the time.
The welfare system that we're putting in place will be better for individuals, better for the taxpayer, and better for the economy.
Didn't answer the question.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think the Prime Minister actually watched what happened in the House yesterday. His bill was completely gutted. A U-turn in the middle of the debate, removing Clause 5. Where on earth was he? The reason why he can't answer the question is because he knows it doesn't save any money. It's going to cost millions. This is the first Prime Minister in history to propose a bill to save money who ended up with a bill which costs money. So if the bill doesn't cut welfare spending, can the Prime Minister tell the House how many people it will get into work?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm glad she asked that because it gives me the opportunity to say we've already started changing the job centres and investing in support back into work. The Trailblazer scheme, which is doing exactly what she asked me, which is getting people back into work. The bill last night will help people back into work, and of course the Timms review is ongoing. But I tell you what won't help people back into work, what won't
Smelly
help control
Tories.
the costs.
Smelly Tories.
Voting to keep the broken system, and that is what they did last night. Everybody in this House accepts that the current system is broken. It invites the question, who broke it? They broke it, and last night they voted for the status quo. The broken system is their policy. That won't help individuals, taxpayer, and it certainly won't help the economy.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell him what we did on welfare. Yes, they can laugh. Why are they laughing? They don't know. My party delivered the biggest reform of welfare in government. We got record numbers of people into work, including millions of disabled people. And we cut the deficit every year until COVID. The fact is, we're not scared of doing difficult things on this side of the House. We got people back into work. What he forgets is that since the election, since he became Prime Minister, an additional 1,000 people a day are signing on to incapacity benefits. That is 50% more than under us. 50% more than under us.
He's like,
and
what?
Mr. Speaker, astonishly, because of the mess they made yesterday, because there are no more savings, sickness benefits alone are set to rise to £100 billion on his watch. He cannot reduce that now. He cannot reduce that now.
Mr. McKee, I think we've had a run-in before. I certainly don't want any more. Seriously. You're obviously not getting your timing right because I can hear your voice every time.
I'll start again, Mr. Speaker. Yes.
She's so useless at this job.
Sickness benefits, louder for those at the back, sickness benefits are set to rise to £100 billion because of their mess. They cannot now reduce it. They can't reduce it because after last night's humiliating U-turn, we know he cannot control his MPs. They're cheering now, but you signed the amendment. You signed the amendment. Over 100 people signed that reasoned amendment until the bill was completely gutted. He said that he would take the difficult decisions, but isn't the reality that he is too weak to get anything done?
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell them what they did to the welfare system. They broke it.
Right, that just gives him the opportunity to say you broke the system. I mean, that was such a bad line of questioning. There's one PMQs that really sticks in my head, which is when the leader of the Lib Dems in 2019 stood up and she said, when is the Prime Minister going to do the right thing and stop Brexit? And I was like, that's the worst fucking question to ask because he's just got to say no. Like, she can say, why are you weak? You know, why are you the weakest Prime Minister ever? He just stands up and goes, no. That'll be Liz Truss. That'll be Theresa May. That'll be Boris Johnson. That'll be David Cameron. That'll be John Major. You know, that'll be Lord Douglas Hume. That'll be Campbell Bannerman. That'll be Lord Palmerston. Okay, I'm going back too far. But, like, that isn't a good question to ask. The good question to ask was the first question she asked, was like, how much will the bill save? Because that needs an answer. This question that she's asked doesn't require an answer, and it gives the leader of the Conservative Party, the Prime Minister, a chance to grandstand, which is what you're not supposed to do in PMQs. And this is why people think politics is nonsense, because the people we pay to do the politicking aren't very good at it.
And it's the same as the NHS. What did they do? They broke it. Same as the economy. What did they do? They broke it. They broke everything that they touched. And now she describes the broken system that we are trying to fix. What did she do? She voted against fixing the system that they broke. And I'll tell you, Mr. Speaker, and spell that out, they voted last night for the system that is keeping 1 million young people not learning or earning. That is a disgrace of their system. They voted for a system where we have 3 million people out of work on ill health, and they voted for that system. We're fixing it. We're clearing up the mess that they left, just like we're clearing up the NHS and the economy.
He's got some brass neck. Has he read the papers this morning? Has he read the papers this morning? That bill will achieve nothing. It is a pointless waste of time and is absolute proof that he doesn't have a plan. Let me tell the House what's going to happen. In November, the Chancellor is going to put up our taxes to pay for his incompetence. We on this side of the House know that you can't tax your way to growth. But people out there are frightened. People out there... Yes. These are the same people who cheered when they talked about the NI rise and the jobs tax. Why are they complaining now? People out there are frightened. Can he, Mr. Speaker, can he reassure them by ruling out tax rises in the autumn budget?
It's the party of business.
Mr. Speaker, she knows that no Prime Minister or Chancellor ever stands at the dispatch box and writes budgets in the future. That isn't what they did, it isn't what we did, and she knows it. But she talks about growth. For 14 years, we had stagnation, and that is what caused the problems. And I'm really pleased, Mr. Speaker, to show the progress that we're making. I can update the House. Last week, Amazon put in £40 billion of investment into this country, one of the biggest investments of its time. That brought the inward investment to £120 billion in the first year of this Labour government. Mr. Speaker, I can also tell the House that business confidence is the highest for 9 years. That's longer than the whole time that the leading opposition's been in Parliament. And the figures this week demonstrated and showed we had the fastest growth in the G7 in the first quarter of this year. What a difference to the mess they left. That's the difference a Labour government makes.
Kemi Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about jobs. Unemployment has risen every month since Labour took office. Has he spoken to Nissan, by the way, and looked at what's happening there? This man has forgotten that his welfare bill was there to plug a black hole created by the Chancellor. Instead, they're creating new ones. They're creating new ones.
Let's give him the opportunity to mention the £22 billion black
Mr. Speaker,
hole
she's
in the
pointing at me.
finances.
She looks absolutely miserable. Labour MPs.
She does look miserable.
Labour
I have to agree
MPs.
with her on that.
Yeah, she looks absolutely miserable. Labour MPs. They can point as much as they like. The fact is, Labour MPs are going
she
on
just
the
seems to
record
perk
saying
up
that the
now.
Chancellor is toast, and the reality is that she is a human shield for his incompetence. In January, he said that she would be in post till the next election. Will she really?
Again, shit question.
She certainly won't. Mr. Speaker, I have to say I'm always cheered up when she asks me questions or responds to a statement, because she always makes a complete mess of it and shows just how unserious and irrelevant they are.
She
But
does.
she talks about the black
She
hole.
really
They left a
does.
£22 billion black hole.
Hey!
And we're clearing it up. And I'm really proud, Mr. Speaker, that in the first year of a Labour government we got free school meals, breakfast clubs, childcare, got £15 billion invested in transport in the North and the Midlands. With cutting regulation, planning and infrastructure is pounding forward, building 1.5 million homes, the biggest investment in social and affordable housing, and of course, Mr. Speaker, the 3 trade deals. Remember the ones that they couldn't get, including the US trade deal. On Monday, those tariffs came down. That secured the jobs at JLR. That's who we care about on this side of the House.
How awful for the Chancellor that he couldn't confirm that she would stay in place. He talks about this year in office. This week marks the first anniversary of Labour coming into office. And let's have it. Yeah.
Okay.
The whips can't get
Not
them
a
in the
great
lobbies,
start.
but they can get them to cheer at the right time. Yeah. The fact is, his own MPs are saying this government is, and I quote, incoherent and shambolic. That's Liverpool Wavertree that said that. I could go on and on. But the fact is, it's been mistake after mistake after mistake. There is no plan to get people into work. There is no plan to cut the welfare budget. There is no strategy. There is just a series of humiliating U-turns like winter fuel, like grooming gangs. Mr. Speaker, what's really shocking is that every other party in this House voted for even more welfare spending yesterday. Yes, those MPs behind him and the Lib Dems and Reform. The Conservative Party believes that this country needs to live within its means.
And then in the country, by the way, another She worked in McDonald's
we
once, so
know
it makes
what
her
we
working
believe,
class.
Mr. Speaker, but this is a Prime Minister who has U-turned on everything he's done in office, including his own speeches, because he doesn't know what he believes. With left-wing Labour MPs now running the government, isn't it working people who will now pay the price?
Again, that is just like, is she being paid by Labour? Surely she can't be this bad. She's just stood up and said, isn't it working people who are going to pay the price? Giving him the fucking huge opportunity to not knock it out the park and say, here's the things we've done for working people. Watch this. He's just going to say, here's the things we've done for working
Mr.
people.
Speaker, this is why she always cheers me up. She talks about living within their means, having left a £22 billion
Hey, you mentioned the £22 billion black hole again.
She talks about the first year. I'm really proud of our first year in government. We promised, Mr. Speaker, 2 million extra NHS appointments.
Told you.
We've delivered 4 million. A promise made and a promise delivered. We promised the biggest upgrade to workers' rights in a generation within the first 100 days. Promise made, promise delivered. We promised free breakfast clubs. That's a promise made and a promise delivered. Banning bonuses for water bosses who pollute our rivers. That's the mess they left. A promise made and a promise delivered. Creating GB Energy. A promise made and a promise delivered. The largest increase in defence spending since the last Labour government. A promise made and a promise delivered. And putting more money in the pockets of working people, particularly the 3 million who are the lowest paid through the national minimum wage. A promise made and a promise delivered. We're only getting started, and the Chancellor has led on all these issues, and we're grateful to her for it.
That was absolutely appalling. If Kemi Badenoch is still leader of the Conservative Party after the next conference, I'll be very, very shocked. I'll be happy. I mean, I think she's absolutely useless at her job. But today, of all days, she couldn't land a punch there. That was absolutely shambolic. Good first question. And after that, it was like, oh, you're a bit shit, aren't you? To which the Prime Minister stands up and says, I'm not shit, and here's the reasons I'm not shit. And then she stands up again and goes, yeah, but what have you done for me? What have you done for me lately? And that just allows him to stand up and fucking grandstand about all the stuff that Labour's done. It's not asking him questions that we need to know the answers for. It's just, she's so bad at it. She is so bad at it. The fact that it was her that brought up the fact that it's a year since Labour got in. That's a win for Labour. She basically stood up and said, it's been a year since us lot were yeeted out of office in our worst defeat since 1835 in Parliament. There's only 121 Tory MPs left in this fucking place. You know, the Lib Dems plus the SNP plus the Greens almost got as many MPs put together as the Tories now. I mean, it just... Yeah, mate. Just, wow. Airplane mentioned. Yes, it did. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Wow, that was really bad. We'll have a question from one of the Labour MPs, and it'll go over to
Natasha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, unlike the members opposite, this government has not dragged its feet in banning zombie knives, ninja-style swords, and its effort to tackle knife crime. And in Croydon, where youth violence has cast a devastating shadow across our communities, our local police is running a surrender scheme this month to get these dangerous weapons off our streets. So will the Prime Minister join me in commending the tireless work of Croydon's police officers? And will he outline what his government is doing to ensure the Met Police has the resource it needs both to protect neighbourhood policing and to face the unique challenges that they face?
Prime Minister.
Well, she's right to raise the importance of banning these despicable weapons, and I know how much she cares about this issue. The ban on zombie knives and machetes came into effect last year, and the ban on ninja swords will come into effect this August. The Crime and Policing Bill will increase penalties for illegal sales and give the police new powers to seize knives. Mr. Speaker, I have to say this. What did the party opposite do when we put that bill before the House to take these measures? They voted against it. And knife crime went up, soared on their watch, and they've clearly learned absolutely nothing.
Sir Ed Davey, leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, the government was asking this House to vote for a law that would mean someone with a condition like Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis would qualify for a personal independence payment today, but someone diagnosed with the same condition with the very same symptoms in a few months' time would not. We all know that the cost of welfare needs to come down, but that was not a fair way to do it. Until he lost control yesterday, the Prime Minister was arguing for that approach. Has he changed his mind on this or not?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Stephen Timms review will take place. It's a very important review to look into this issue. But what we did do last night was end mandatory reassessments for those with severe disabilities. I thought that he and his party cared about things like that. It's the right thing to do, and they voted, Mr. Speaker, against it. We rebalanced universal credit, long overdue. I think he believes that. But what did he do last night? He voted against it. We set out a pathway to reform PIP, something he argues for every week. And what did he do when he had the chance? He voted against it.
Sir Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, the House and his backbenchers will note that he didn't answer my question. Moreover, if he looked at our proposals for welfare reform, for cutting down the bill, he wouldn't be in the mess that he's in. But moving on, Mr. Speaker, from Hillsborough to Grenfell, Primados to Horizon, the contaminated blood scandal to nuclear test veterans, The bereaved and survivors of some of our country's most appalling scandals have come together to call for a legal duty of candour and the secondary duty needed to make it practical and effective for investigations and inquiries. Now they're frightened that the government is watering down these proposals to such an extent that they would be toothless. So after months of delay, can the Prime Minister reassure campaigners that his Hillsborough law will include a real legal duty of candour as he promised?
Straight question, answer.
Yes, it will. And
good. There you go.
He may know. I've known some of the families from Hillsborough for many years now. I met them over a decade ago and know exactly what they have been through, and the various other groups that have suffered similar injustices with similar follow-up, which is an additional injustice on top of the original injustice. And that's why we will bring forward a Hillsborough law. It's a commitment I've made. I have been talking to the families in recent weeks, personally myself, to make sure that we get this right, and it is important that we get it right, but it will have a legal duty of candour.
Kim Jones.
Thank you.
There you go. I think that's the first question that's actually been answered so far this afternoon. Wow. I mean, it's like night and day, isn't it? The way that the Tories are behaving and the way that they ask the questions, they don't want to know the answer. They just want to insult the Prime Minister. They just want to insult the Labour Party. And like, I know that's fun for us, but we're not the opposition. You know, we need to know these answers for this stuff. So what Ed Davey did there was brilliant, because he has managed to get out of the Prime Minister reassurance for the families of Grenfell, for Hillsborough, for the tainted blood scandal, for the post office scandal, for the radioactive fucking shit that the soldiers were put through, or veterans. He got a straight question for them. Like, is the duty of candour going to have a legal backing? Like, if you see something horrible happening, do you have a moral, not just a moral obligation, but a legal obligation to say something? And he got the answer. Yes. There you go. Brilliant. We had a Prime Minister's question that came with an answer. What the fuck do you think he's going to say if you just stand up and go, you're a bit of a knobhead, aren't you? Like, you just stand up and go, no, I'm not. Here's why I'm not a knobhead. It's just so frustrating to see the Conservative Party, just the way they behave in Parliament. It's break time in the sixth form common room, isn't it? To them. It's not real life. It's not real people that they're affecting by their decisions. They don't give a shit. Just see it all as a game.
Mr. Speaker, follow-on question. The Prime Minister visited my constituency in 2022 and told families, and I quote, "One of my first acts will be to put the Hillsborough law on the statute book." Repeated the same promise at conference last year that the bill would be published at the anniversary in April. That didn't happen. However, the government are now planning to table a watered-down version that doesn't deserve to be named Hillsborough law. After PMQs, my honourable friend, the member for Liverpool West Derby, will introduce the real Hillsborough law. So can the Prime Minister finally honour his promise and back the law in full? If not, why not?
Prime Minister.
I'm grateful to her for raising this and remember well the visit that we had. This is a really serious issue, Mr. Speaker. It is important that we get it right. I am fully committed to introducing a Hillsborough law, including a legal duty of candour for public servants and criminal sanctions for those that refuse to comply. It is important we get it right. I have been personally engaging with some of the families on this because, as I say, I've been involved and seen firsthand what they've been through.
This seems like the same question that Ed Davey just asked.
I first met them when I was Director of Public Prosecutions, and there was a consideration of what order certain things would happen. That was about a different issue, actually. It was about an issue of great concern to them. But she's right to raise this. We will bring this forward. I just want to take the time to get it right and then put it before the House.
Stephen Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In his victory speech last year, the Prime Minister promised to end the chaos. Does he think that the public still believes?
We're going to run for a seat now.
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we've delivered more in the first year of a Labour government than they've delivered in 20 years. Let me give him one example. We had waiting lists. We said we'd do 2 million extra appointments. We've done 4 million for the NHS in England. What a contrast, Mr. Speaker, where they've been in charge for that 20 years. Scotland's doctors now saying, in the past week, I think, and this is their quote, that the Scottish NHS is, their quote, dying before our very eyes. They should be ashamed. Their own public health minister is admitting that the SNP failure is costing lives. Scotland need new direction so it can bring waiting lists down in Scotland, just like we've done in England.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hemel Hempstead is a new town that was built by a Labour government after the Second World War and provided decent housing to families like mine. Yet, 80 years on, the #1 issue in my casework is a shortage of housing. I therefore welcome this government's commitment to build thousands of new homes. In my constituency, we're looking at a Hemel Gardens community scheme that could provide 11,000 of them. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that this development needs to be a mix of genuinely affordable houses to buy, council houses to rent, and be accompanied by the right health, education and road infrastructure?
Minister.
Well, I totally agree with him, and it's projects like this that are essential to building the 1.5 million homes that we need, whilst at the same time creating vibrant and strong communities. Mr. Speaker, in keeping with the Attlee legacy, we're supporting 47 locally led garden communities to deliver tens of thousands more homes, and of course delivering the biggest boost to social and affordable houses in a generation.
Mr. McCleary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Monday afternoon this week, a 4-year-old girl was seriously injured after being hit by a car on Lewis Road, just off the A259 in Newhaven, in my constituency. I can report to the House that she's recovering well in hospital. Residents in Newhaven, Seaford and nearby Sussex coastal towns have been warning about how unsafe these roads are. Indeed, the County Council submitted a fully costed plan for safety improvements on the A259 to government, but funding remains blocked. So I'm asking, or appealing to the Prime Minister directly, will he personally intervene to unblock the funding needed to make the A259 and surrounding roads safer, to ensure there is never a repeat of an incident like this?
Prime Minister.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear of the incident that he quotes, and my sympathies with the family, and I think I would send the best wishes of the whole House to the family and to the little girl. He speaks about this A259. I do hear a lot about this road because it runs through the constituency of my honourable friend for Brighton, Kemp Down and Peacehaven. And I know it needs addressing, and I know how strongly they've both been raising this and campaigning on it. A decision is going to be set out shortly. I think he has met the Roads Minister, but I'll make sure that he's kept fully updated of developments.
Olivia Bailey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am proud to represent thousands of people working in the defence sector. Ordinary people doing extraordinary jobs to keep our country safe. And I was delighted that the Defence Secretary recently joined me in my constituency to mark this government's £15 billion investment in the atomic weapons establishment. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that our commitment to defence sector investment is vital not just for our national security, but for jobs, opportunity and growth in constituencies like Reading West and Mid-Berkshire?
Prime Minister.
Well, I pay tribute to her, and she's a fantastic advocate for her constituents. She's right to highlight the important work by the defence sector in her constituency and, of course, right across the United Kingdom. We are investing £15 billion in our sovereign nuclear warhead programme. That will support, Mr. Speaker, nearly 10,000 jobs, including many in her constituency. And that's the defence dividend in action, a historic boost to defence spending, represented and reflected in good, well-paid jobs across the United Kingdom.
Adrian Ramsey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that the government appears to be in listening mode, will the Prime Minister agree to scrap other measures that are pushing more people into poverty, such as the cruel two-child benefit cap and the harsh and totally unacceptable cuts to universal credit for ill and disabled people, which remain in yesterday's dog's breakfast of a bill?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to be ungenerous, but I don't think I'm going to be listening to him or his party. They were the ones that put an £80 billion unfunded tax commitment before the electorate at the last election. And they're the ones that talk about change and clean power, but every single time there's an infrastructure project or there's any change that's needed, they block it, including in their own constituencies.
Joe White.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Whilst we all revere the football stars of the past, many are struggling with welfare issues, including organised financial fraud and head injuries linked to the onset of dementia. May I give the Prime Minister this letter on player welfare from 303 former players? Local champions like John Stiles and international superstars including Kevin Keegan and Graham Hughes have signed it. Would he agree to request to meet a group of ex-players as cited in the recent letter to the Prime Minister from one of his heroes, Michael Thomas, who of course shone when he played for Arsenal and Liverpool?
Prime Minister.
Can I just start by congratulating Dawn Assel on her recent and richly deserved MBE for her work on behalf of former players. I do remember Michael Thomas very well putting that goal in injury time, Mr. Speaker, in 1989 to take the lead. It was a fantastic victory. I have had the pleasure of meeting him and actually discussing with him the very campaign that she raises. I'll certainly meet him again, because athletes have brought us so much joy. We should have proper support from their sporting bodies on health and welfare, and we will ensure that they do.
Steph Aquarell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I refer members to my role as a serving county councillor. Mr. Speaker, July is Good Care Month, and Jane Austen told us the best place for convalescence by the sea is Cromer in my constituency. However, thanks to Norfolk's Conservative County Council, Cromer risks losing its convalescence facility forever. Reablement centres like Benjamin Court are exactly what the NHS needs, and yet the Tories are shutting it down. Will the Prime Minister ensure that the relevant health minister meets with me and concerned local campaigners to discuss what can be done to save Benjamin Court?
Prime Minister.
Well, I thank you for raising this important issue, and decisions around services are matters for the Integrated Care Board, and that means they're taken locally, obviously. But I'm glad that he's raised this, because we agree that the sector does need reform, and unlike the party opposite, we're investing in the sector £4 billion of additional funding alongside an independent commission into adult social care to improve the quality of care across the United Kingdom, including for his constituents.
Martin Rhodes.
Mr. Speaker, figures from the British Transport Police show a staggering 47% rise in violence and serious public order offences against rail staff between 2021 and 2024. This epidemic of violence was allowed to escalate under the previous Conservative government, which failed to act while frontline workers were increasingly put at risk. Does the Prime Minister agree that our transport workers deserve to do their jobs without fear, and will he reaffirm this Labour government's commitment to ensuring that train operating companies are held fully accountable for protecting those who keep our railways safe and moving?
Prime Minister.
There are shocking statistics, and rail staff work incredibly hard to keep our country running and keep people safe, and the abuse and assault on staff is utterly unacceptable, and we're taking measures to make sure they are safer. We want to encourage, Mr. Speaker, the use of body-worn cameras, which have been proven to reduce violence against staff by up to 47%. And may I take this opportunity to thank our outstanding British Transport Police for everything that they do to support staff and passengers.
Bernadette Ross.
This time a year ago, farmers and many others across the country were about to go to the polls, perhaps about to vote Labour for the first time, because they took at the Prime Minister's own word that he and his party would never leave farmers in the background again. Within weeks, however, that trust had been completely shattered by the family farm tax. Farmers know how devastating that tax will be. The industry know how devastating it will be. We on these benches know how devastating it will be, and more of his own backbenchers do too. So following the U-turn on the winter fuel payments, and following the U-turn on grooming gangs, and following the many U-turns on welfare payments yesterday, will the Prime Minister now tell farmers up and down the country when it will be their turn for a U-turn and that he will scrap the family farm tax?
Not the family farm tax.
This time a year ago, the country was lining up to boot them out of office, and long may they remain there. Mr. Speaker, we put in place the most significant funding for farmers in the budget. We've got a roadmap for work for farmers that we're working on, and of course, where they fail to actually spend the money, we're spending it with farmers.
Charlotte Littles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The nuclear industry provides over 29,000 jobs across the North West, including thousands in Birchwood Park in my constituency, which is a globally leading centre of nuclear innovation. I welcome the government's new modern industrial strategy, which will give businesses the confidence to invest after years of economic chaos under the last government. Can the PM outline how the industrial strategy will support the growth of the nuclear sector, which is vital for our energy security and creating thousands more high-paid, high-skilled and unionised jobs?
Prime Minister.
She's a champion of nuclear, and I know how important it is to thousands of her constituents. Mr. Speaker, we are securing homegrown energy and driving bills down by unleashing a golden age of nuclear. And that includes Sizewell C, which we announced just 2 or 3 weeks ago, small modular reactors, and that means jobs, investment and opportunities across the country, including in her constituency.
Julia Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The rush changes to the welfare bill not only left Parliament with whiplash, but more importantly, have left many vulnerable people living in limbo, like Chris or Emma in my constituency, who were set to lose PIP that they rely on for work. And Chris has already lost a vital carer through all of this uncertainty. It is not right that in a society, vulnerable people have to be worried about what the government will do next. Does the Prime Minister understand that this has eroded trust at a time when we need it most?
Prime Minister.
She went to Newcastle upon
Mr. Speaker, I think what would be better for building trust is an accurate description of what we're doing. The Stephen Timms inquiry review is really important to look at this really important issue, but we have to get on and reform. We have a broken system that is not working for those that are using the system. It's not working for the taxpayer. It's not working for the economy. We have to get on and reform it, and we'll do it in the way we set out yesterday.
Peter Dowd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I pay tribute to veterans of the Royal Naval Association Crosby branch who are in the gallery today. Mr. Speaker, Gabe Santa, a 15-year-old, fell to his death from a multi-storey car park in Liverpool in 2020. He is one of the many dying in such tragic circumstances, including in my constituency. My multi-storey car park safety bill seeks to prevent such deaths. Will the government look carefully at its contents as part of a national suicide prevention strategy?
Minister.
The answer is yes, we will look at the content of it, and I'm grateful to him for raising it. I think across the House we've all got tragic experience of suicide, and our thoughts are with Gabe's family and with his friends. We will conduct a call for evidence on Part K of the building regulations about minimum guarding heights, so that necessary protections are in place to prevent future tragedies. We will also look at the contents of the bill.
Dame Karen Bradley.
Thank you very much. Prime Minister, people across the Staffordshire Moorlands are extremely concerned by the number of solar farms and battery storage facilities that are having applications granted. Can you please, Prime Minister, give them some reassurance that you will change the law and that we will see good agricultural land saved producing food as it rightly should be?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it's right that we do both and do support agriculture, but she says people across the country are concerned about solar. They are also concerned about their bills coming down. They went up under the last government. The only way to get them down is on renewables, and that's what we're doing.
Final question, Jessica Warden.
Thank God for that.
This morning in Westminster Hall, Centenary Action presented sashes handmade by a team of wonderful women working out of Newport's remake to every one of our 264 women MPs to mark today's 97th anniversary of the Equal Franchise Act. Will the Prime Minister join me in welcoming this initiative, which celebrates the contribution women make in public life? And although we now have a record number of women MPs, does he agree we must ensure we continue to break down barriers for women on our way to achieving the mission of a gender-equal Parliament?
Can I, through her, thank the women in her constituency for their hard work on this initiative, and having 264 women MPs is a really significant progress in this House. I'm incredibly proud that at the last election we saw 100 new female Labour MPs elected, meaning the number of female MPs in the Labour Party is now at a record high. And on the 97th anniversary of the Equal Franchise Act, it should be a source of great pride to the House that we have a record number of female members.
That completes Prime Minister's questions. Let the front bench change over.
Oh, change over the front bench. Unlock. In one. Order. Right, bring everyone to order. Martin, you're near me, aren't you, Martin? Because, oh my God, school one this morning was an absolute bloody nightmare. I was stuck near town for I don't know, 20 minutes. Didn't have to go into town. I was just on the outskirts of the city centre. I think there's a road closed, and that basically shuts down the whole of Durham because there only is one road in Durham. Follow the only road. Follow the only road. She doesn't want that immigrant weather coming in. Bloody immigrants bringing the weather, doing all these jobs. I saw an interview with Zoe Gardner, friend of the channel. I think she was doing an interview I don't know, Nick Ferrari or some twat. She kept making this point of why don't we let asylum seekers work? I just don't understand what the thinking is. What's the problem with asylum seekers? Well, they're costing us too much money. Okay, we'll let them work and then they'll pay for themselves. In fact, we'll make money. We'll make more because they're less likely to use the facility, like the hospitals, and they're in their 20s or 30s. They won't go to school. Let them work. Let them pay tax. Let them be a productive member of society. No, they've got to be an unproductive member of society, and we've got to put them in hotels and pay Tory donors loads of money, out of taxpayers' money, to put them up in their shitty fucking rat-infested hotels. All women are just fascist ones. Not all women. I've seen more solar panels popping up too. I'm more for gender equality in politics, but the trouble is this can never be achieved as we cannot control who gets to represent their constituents. Yes, we can. We can have all female shortlists. We decide as members of the local party, we decide who we want to be our MP, and if one of our MPs stands down or is gotten rid of, we'll go to a branch meeting and we'll vote on who we want. And if you can only vote for women, then it'll only be women. It'll be a woman. Although, I'm all for positive discrimination, but it has to include all women, not just the ones that J.K. Rowling approves of. Bloody J.K. Rowling. Bloody beaker people coming here with their bloody drinking vessels, said Third Eye Blind. Channeling his inner Stuart Lee there. I like that. Ryan says, hot take, MPs who are in Parliament where Maggie was at the dispatch box should stand down as an MP. I think a lot of them have stood down anyway because they're dead. But yeah, there's not too many of them left, is there? I was replying that Labour MP wanging on about women and gender. Yeah, I got that. All these fighting age asylum seekers, they're also working age. Wow. Yeah, that's the expression they use, fighting age. Imagine if we talked about kids in Britain like that. Do you know what I mean? Oh, heard your youngest turned 16 last week. Oh yeah, they're fighting age now. God, that would be a conversation stopper, wouldn't it? Jimmy Anderson's bowling technique says, well said, Graham. Thank you. I don't quite know which bit of it you're agreeing with, but thank you. It's always nice to be agreed with. It's always nicer to be agreed with than be corrected, but you got to take the rough with the smooth, haven't you, in this life? Iceland has a minimum requirement that 40% of women in Parliament should be 50%, but it's massive compared to the rest of the world, 16% on average. Isn't it 40% in the UK Parliament now? Is it? They actually said the number, didn't they, in Parliament just then? I kind of missed it. Gender split. Is it split? Is that the way you put it? In UK Parliament. I'll just have a look. How many women were elected? Let's go to the Commons Library. So, 260, is it? Come on. All right. Yeah, 40%. Phew. I got it right. 263 MPs, 40% of the 650 MPs are women. And that is up from 220 in 2019. So we are entering some kind of level of parity. It is going in the right direction. But just between you and me, I'd prefer it was more women than men, like loads more women than men. They're more sensible. You know, who did all of the fucking legwork yesterday? It wasn't Keir Starmer. It wasn't Wes Anderson. It was bloody Angela Rayner. There were no female premiers, prime ministers, presidents around the world causing wars at the moment. There's no one calling for referendums to attack their neighbours. It's all men doing that. No one's telling them to go and bomb Iran or start a fight with India in Kashmir or vice versa. It's men. It's men doing it. Not that there haven't been some terrible female leaders in the past. That definitely have in places like Bangladesh and Indonesia. I'm not going to doubt that. But comparatively with the amount of shit men leaders we've had, shit women leaders are very few and far between. I mean, look at someone like Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand. It was fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. One occupation, the government's wildlife chief has said he would be absolutely delighted if he could reintroduce the lynx to Britain during his 2-year term. What, is it not called lynx anymore? They changed it to axe, so it's easy to sell on the continent. Oh, you're talking about the animals, not the spray. Okay, cool. Finally, next we need wolves. We could have an American wolf in London. Mikey Farman is always trying to correct you, Graham. Yes, Oliver. Yeah, it's one of those things that people do. Captain Coconut. I like it when someone corrects me and they're wrong. That always cheers me up. And you go, hang on. You look it up and you go, no, I was right. What did you say? What did you say? What was that? What was that? What was that? Oh, I heard you. It was. I was right. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. That doesn't often happen, but sometimes it can. I remember a certain Iron Lady going to war over a piece of land a while back. Graham, yeah, I know there are exceptions, but generally speaking, war is a man's game. And don't forget, at that point in her leadership, I mean, she was quite unpopular at the start of her tenure as Prime Minister, but she was helped by the Falklands War and also the fact that Michael Foot, who was the leader of Labour back then, was fucking useless. They called the 1983 manifesto, they called it the longest suicide note in history, didn't they? Was it 1983? But you could also argue that the reason why the war happened, the Falklands War, is because the Argentinians invaded the Falkland Islands. And it was the military junta that was running Argentina at the time who decided that would be a good idea. It wasn't Eva Perón. So yeah. And not too much. Love LBC apart from Ferrari. Yeah, Ferrari's problematic. My cats say no wolves. Well, the cats would say that, wouldn't they? And because, yeah, you know, the cats like to be the apex predator in any given area. Isn't there like an island off the coast of New Zealand where there was this bird and there was only the lighthouse keeper and the cat that lived on this fucking island, and he got one of these birds, like a dead one, and he sent it off to the Royal Institute of Birds or something, and he looked at it and went, oh my god, this is an absolutely unique species on the planet and it only exists on this one island. And by the time they got the message to the lighthouse keeper, his cat had killed every single bird on the island. Because, oh my god, cats love to kill stuff. Wow, they just kill and kill again. Adorable, fairy, lovely little creatures. Chill me out, whatever. You know, I do like cats. I'm a cat person, but I'm also a dog person. It's kind of my thing. They devastate the local ecosystem. They really do. Sheeps say no to slaughterhouses, but turkeys say yes to Christmas. Funnily enough, I often find those who are against rewilding are wealthy landowners and farmers. Funny that, isn't it? Yeah, that is quite funny. What are the chances? Captain Coconut says, yep, the cat's name was Tiddled and it killed them all. Lol. You shouldn't lol about the annihilation of entire species. House cats are the best, says Vendetta. Ferrari has Farage on tomorrow. Oh, God. Oh, God. The battle of the braying narcissists. Oh, hello, Nick. Hello, Nigel. Do you ever in real school? A very posh school. We all had posh schools together, didn't we? Added a couple of new names to the private school mafia list. Just now. It's all good. Right. I better get going. I have. I've still got my Glastonbury shit. You can't see it because it's off the side of the screen here. But off the side of the camera. I've got my Glastonbury shit to sort out. Still got some washing to put in the washing machine, and I think I'll be able to hang out today. It's a bit cold and wet up here in Durham. I don't know what's happening where you are, but here it's a bit cold and wet. Did we ever get an answer from Martin about where he was? Because I was quite interested about that, because I do have to go out again this afternoon. It's going to be a bit shit if the roads are all snarled up. But it was the reason why I was 2 minutes late getting on this morning. It was my fault, really, because I did get in 10 minutes to spare, but I thought, I'm going to have some fucking breakfast. It's bloody starving. Bloody starving. Anne says, fortunately, I don't plan to listen to LBC tomorrow morning, so I'll be spared that double horror. It is. It's like a horror double feature, isn't it? That's the way it should be marketed. Horror double feature. Yeah. LBC will have the sound of Ferrari toast. Oh, mate. I can't. Sorry, I can't even read that. Oh, so grim. So grim. Yeah. Yeah, Martin hasn't responded, but Martin did say at the beginning of the show that he was driving, so don't respond, Martin. But I think Martin lives in Durham as well. I think the roads in Durham are fooked today. Okay, I'll be back at 6 tonight with Rachel. We'll be going down the rabbit hole, and we'll be talking about plot holes in films. What are your favourite plot holes? I'll be talking about some of my favourites and some of the ones that have actually been filled. Some of them get filled by fans. Some of them got filled in the script. Some of them got filled after the event by another movie that made a big thing about having to fill that particular plot hole. So let's talk about that rather than politics, because politics is a bit of a downer, isn't it? That's why we have to have the Friday night social so we can have a laugh about it. I wonder if Brexiteers Ferrari claimed his Swiss/Italian passport yet. I'm sure. And Richard coming in with the only super chat of the afternoon. Thank you very much, Richard. Sorry going for that mental image. Yeah, honestly, mate, a bit of sick came up. But I acknowledge your apology. I forgive you because you paid me to forgive you, and I'm you know what can I say? I'm a cheap date. But yeah, hopefully see you at 6 o'clock for a bit of a fun old natter with Rachel. If not, if you just want to hit the politics shit, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with Morning Brew. So one of those points in your next 24 hours, I hope to see you again. Until then, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the super chat, Richard. Thanks for all the comments, all the nice ones anyway. And until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.